computer. Okay, James. Okay, James.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition. My name is James Slim Overton, and you can see my picture up there in the cap in the corner there. Having a little technical difficulties, but you can hear my voice, and I'm here in spirit and in voice. But welcome, and we're here this evening with another edition of our candidates information discussion. And tonight we have Donna Sayegh, who is a Portsmouth City Council candidate. But before we get started, the Colonel, well, let me introduce our co-host.
Just 1 minute. Should we let Mark know that he comes on at 7:30, or did he want to come on while
7:40.
7:40? So could you reach him and tell him he comes on? He's in the waiting room now. Should I let him in and let him know he comes back on at 7:40?
Yeah, let him in and let him know.
Okay.
Well, anyway, while we're waiting, our co-hosts are Leah Drake-Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman, and they are here with us tonight.
Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Mark. We want to let you know that you're scheduled to come on at 7:40.
Okay.
And if you want to remain in the waiting room, you can, but we wanted to give each candidate their full half hour. So we'll let you back in at 7:40.
Perfect.
To 8:10. Okay.
All right.
Thanks a
I'll
lot.
be here.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Let me see how to put him, stop. Co-host.
Technology.
But Colonel, if you want to go ahead with your
Yes.
disclaimer and then start us off with our discussion.
Okay. The
With our
views,
guest tonight.
the views stated on this program are the host and the guest and nobody else. And so we're not sponsored by anybody else, and nobody else is responsible except for us. And so keep us out of Facebook jail. So Donna, how you doing today? So I guess Slim says I'm gonna lead off the questions for you.
Okay.
So I'll give you one broad base one. Why are you running for city council? Just in the 2-minute thing.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I was called to run. And it's taken these, I've been involved in government now 10 years. And it's like, now that I've been involved in government for 10 years, I now see the problem. So I think I was running to learn something about government and the election process. The process, I guess, is, and now, thank God I didn't get elected, because I didn't know the process, and now I know what the problem is. So it's just been a process. And being called.
You mentioned what is the problem?
What's the problem in the city?
Yes.
It's structure. There's no structure. So there's no communication. I mean, if you look at the organizational structure in the city, departments, divisions are in the column. Okay, there's 4 columns for the structure, and there's divisions from the same department in each one of the columns. So it's not like the Department of Behavioral Health, say, in a column, they have the divisions of it. I don't know how to explain it. And then the other thing, the boards and commissions aren't attached to the departments. So everything is separated. So there's no communication. So there's no work that can be done in a process that's efficient and things like that.
Yeah, in some reason I don't get that, but I'll go over what are your key issues. And I think I looked at your website, And your website says, you basically says, you had key issues of budget, transportation, economy, education, public safety, and I'll go on from there. So I'll start off with the budget. And then you state in your website that you want to get the city out of debt. What do you mean by get the city out of debt? And saying that, as you know, as a sovereign entity, the city can't spend more money than it does. It cannot borrow money to do this. So what do you mean by getting it out of debt?
Well, what they're doing is raising taxes and fees so they can borrow more money. But if they take care of stuff instead of destroying stuff, we wouldn't have to spend as much money. Of course, other people have a different point of view. I'm just speaking from my own.
But Donna, when you say they're destroying stuff, what exactly are they destroying?
Well, they want to destroy buildings, you know, demolish this, demolish that. They say that's cheaper than it is to take care of it and repair it.
But if I have a 100-year-old building, it's going to cost me more to tear it down. I mean to fix it up than it is to tear it down and also to put another structure up. And that's why you see in a lot of houses, in a lot of affluent neighborhoods, I'll buy the house next door and tear it down so I can have a larger lot. And it's cheaper for me to do that. So, but saying that, so that's just a disconnect on that. So you also talked about this finance commission. What's a finance commission going to do other than study stuff?
Well, they had a finance commission at one time. I forget the name of the fellow that ran it. He was in the city treasurer's office, I think, long time ago. But anyway, the money, the finance commission kept you informed about what was going on and the money coming in and the money being spent. Where now you have to do a FOIA to get any information about money, you know, being spent.
Oh,
Donna.
for a private citizen to get a FOIA, put a request for information.
Say
So
what?
you're talking about putting a FOIA request to get an answer from the city. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I have to pay for the information.
Okay.
Well, Donna, you've run a few times before, and what makes you? I know you said that now you have to learn city structure, you learn how things operate, and this is what makes you better prepared to run this time. But what are you focusing on to help move the city forward? And do you have a specific agenda, or do you have an agenda that's going to work for all?
Well, what I'm seeing overall is the lack of communication overall. So when I look at the organizational structure, I can see why there's no communication. So that's what I wanted to do, to have a town hall to get the organizational structure in place so we know who's doing what and why. I mean, I'm all about communication and relationships. That's my real main focus. How are we going to work together, get along, and take care of what we have? That's my real foundational ideas. So,
The concept of a town hall is the same thing as city council meeting?
no, the town hall is everybody comes in and they
talk, but they don't do that now? Is you saying they don't do it now?
I haven't seen a town hall and since Roe was, I think he had a couple of them.
Mm-hmm. So that's what you'd want to institute for town halls for your compadres if you're elected.
Yeah, first of all, get our structure for communication. How are the departments, what are the divisions, how are the boards and commissions attached, how is the communication going on in that area so that we know who's doing what. I don't know who's doing what now. There's 4 new folks. I don't even know the names of them.
Yeah,
What
you
for?
think that's what
Isn't that
boards
the
and
job of the
commissions?
city manager?
Say what?
That's the job of the city manager, right? and they can put anything on in a little chart.
I
The
don't
structure-
understand.
Repeat your
structure's on a
question,
chart.
Colonel.
Huh?
She did not hear your question.
Yeah, the city manager is responsible for running the city
Right,
as chief executive. And then
Right.
they have a structure, meaning they put a chart out, a little wire diagram. These are the departments and da 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 da.
right,
And so you were saying you would, as a city, as a sitting city council member, you're going to tell the new city manager to get her act together and to clarify what they're doing
right.
by yourself. So they're not doing the present city council is not doing that. Is
Right.
that what you're saying?
Right.
And Donna, in light of the fact that there doesn't seem to be any harmony on the city council at this time, how and what do you think you can do to help to bridge that gap to bring harmony where the council can once again begin functioning as a unit?
All right. My master's is in restorative practice and youth counseling. And they have folks who help out when there's difficulties in communication like we have. Okay, I have these ideas, okay? That don't mean that anything's gonna change, okay? I mean, I'm gonna do the best I can to be helpful, but just because I'm talking to y'all and saying some ideas doesn't mean when I get elected that, you know, they're gonna be agreeable to try to communicate with everybody or try to have structure. I mean, you know, this is my hope. And I know how to listen.
So do you think that you coming on can help to bring some unity, some harmony to the group?
Yeah, I do.
How do you get along with those who are serving now on the council? And the future and those who are running? What is your relationship with them?
Well, I mean, I say hello and might have a little conversation, but I mean, I don't have much. To me, a relationship is like visiting and talking and eating and all that. I don't have the time to do all that with them, and certainly they don't have time to do it with me because they're got their own lives. But yeah, I can say hi to them and you know, stuff like that. I mean, it's not like I say, oh, you know, like the lady sitting next to me, you know, it takes two to tango.
Yes. So you run a couple times for different various offices,
Right.
you know, and so in your last couple of, I tried to look it up. What is your average vote total on each one? So
I don't know. I didn't look at it.
So did you come close?
I don't know. I didn't look at because I don't know why I'm the way I am. I know how people are in Portsmouth and they have their favorite ones. And so I don't consider myself a favorite one if I get elected. I mean, that's because God allowed it. But if I don't, then it wasn't time. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
So saying that.
Donna.
Did James have a question?
Yes.
Yeah. Donna, you mentioned as one of your strengths being able to do research.
Yeah.
And that's certainly a skill that any city councilman should have.
Yes.
And as far as, you know, and listening to you talk now, one of the other strengths is communication and being able to communicate with your fellow council people. And how, you know, and you've talked before council many times and been very critical of their actions. How can you take that, you know, the reputation you have now onto council and translate that into really working together with, I mean, I know the question has been sort of asked, but we're trying to get that out of you. What can you bring to the table as far as working along with the other council persons, bringing those research skills and those open communication skills that you're looking for. And I do agree with you. We do need those town hall meetings back again, because it gives the citizens a little bit more leeway, a little bit more opportunity to share their views. But, my concern would be, for any candidate to be able to have those skills. I'll go back to what Mayor Holly used to say. He could work with anybody that came on council once they became a member of council. And it wasn't a personal thing, whether they like or dislike. You got to be able to translate those skills and be able to work with anybody. Do you really think you can do that now, with all the years you've been critical of council? And I know this is a long leading question, but I'm just trying to get it out of you, because I think it's important for the audience to know what you will bring to the table. We see your skill, we see your all the skills and how you're informed about certain issues, but you got to be able to take that up there when you go up there and be able to work with people regardless of how you feel about them. Do you really think you can do that?
Yes. The reason I think if I was on city council, I would be upfront knowing things. You know what I'm saying? I would be part of the decision making. I would know ahead of time the background and what's going on versus I have to find things out after the fact. And that bothers me. It's like they're making decisions without my consent. They're not communicating with the people. I mean, what I'm hearing from folks is, well, okay, just even if you don't like it, just don't say nothing. I'm hearing that a lot of that from people. And I'm saying, well, in restorative practices, when people do something and need some correction, then you hold them accountable. But I'm hearing here in Portsmouth is, oh, well, you don't say anything. So I think my issues are with city council is they're making decisions without my knowledge or consent. Now, if I'm up on the city council, then I'm going to be part of getting that information in right up front, the foundational or whatever you call it, to be able to have input. Where now I don't have any input. That's my interpretation.
And I'll just ask this one other thing, because you've been doing it for years. Has it been a group of council persons up there that you felt like have been doing what they should be doing over the years you've been addressing council? I'm just curious about that.
Well, the thing of it is, I just realized the foundation after all this time. The budget book is really just learned is the foundation, because you look in it and you see all the divisions, okay? Then you look at the organizational structure and it's not organized like the budget book. So I'm seeing now the structure where before I was, just learning.
Okay.
Well, it sort of lost me on that, but I will follow back on the question is if you or now that you say you don't have a choice or a voice as a member, as a citizen, and if you come on city council, you said you're going to be able to get the information ahead of time, but as things have shaken out since this year with the four horsemen, and two of them have two of your compadres who were sitting on the city council who have said we don't want to come on a show like this, and so we won't do a town hall because we don't need to face the citizens of Portsmouth, meaning Paul Battle and Christopher Woodard. How are you going to deal with the four horsemen when they just hijack and they just do whatever they want to do to bring in another city manager and you're sitting on there? What are you going to do with that? and you have no voice then.
Well,
And they continue to do it just about everything.
I learned how to hold people accountable.
How do you hold them accountable? They have 4 voices. You know, they have four of the they have the majority on the city council, and you're sitting there also. How do you hold them accountable?
Well, I've
What's-
got my little question card. That's how I hold people accountable, by, you know, asking them questions and getting their answer. Now, ask me your question again.
Okay, you're sitting on there on the city council. One of the 4 horsemen saying, I'll say Paul Ballard says, well, we're going to hire this city manager, somebody that we've already cut a deal with and give her a poison pill. So if we get rid of her, we've got to pay her $400,000. And what say you? And saying, I already have locked up 4. I have not conferred with anybody. I did this in the smoke-filled room in the back room, and I hired this person. And it's just not the city manager. It could be one of their cousins, what they're going to line up. And so what say you when they say, we're going to hire this person again, or replace this person, or sell this piece of land and to my buddies?
Well, I hope I know ahead of time that they're planning to do it.
No, but that didn't happen last time. Or another example, I'm gonna tell the Parks and Recreation Department so I can still use the facilities here in the city of Portsmouth, and city of Portsmouth can pick up all the electricity, the guards, and all this other stuff, and I can still use my nonprofit to charge these parents a whole lot of money that they don't have, and I can get away with it because I sit on city council. And I'm not even name his name, but you know who he is. What is you gonna do? What say you?
Well, the thing of it is, you know this information, okay? I would have to know the information to hold them accountable and see who's in charge of that information.
Information is the public. I'm hiring it. Okay, we'll go back. We'll make it simplistic. We're going to hire widget A, another city manager. The 4 horsemen is saying we're going to do this. Donna, you're going to vote yes or no to go with the 4 horsemen. I don't care what you knew before or after. We're going to do this. How are you going to hold me accountable? The only people who can hold them accountable are the voters.
Well, they haven't. The voters haven't held them accountable yet.
Okay, but you said, how are you going to hold them accountable?
Well, okay, let me see how to imagine all right, like.
What would you do?
Well, don't they do that in private to get the applications and look at them to see who is qualified? Isn't that the process, to see the application for folks who are gonna apply for the jobs?
That's supposed to be the process.
Supposed to be. That was a process, but not in, I'm using this example, that would not use in this process. I picked out my person and I selected it, and I got my consensus of my other 3 buddies, and we're gonna shove this down Donna Say's Donna's throat. So are you gonna choke and gag on it, or are you gonna say something?
Well, I'm gonna say something, because if they haven't gone through the process right, then I can say something. So if 2 of the horsemen don't get back on, there's only going to be 2 horsemen.
So Donna,
Let's
Donna,
go to another question, because we're running out of time.
yes, we are running out of time.
We spent a little too long on that one issue there. You know, and you do your research. How do you feel? You know, we got these taxes and fees that constantly go up on the citizens. Some of it is mandated, like water treatment and things like that. But how would you go up there and try to advocate for the citizens to stop some of the raising of these fees, because it should be more of a economic development to pay for the city's expenses? Would you
And
be an advocate for that?
oh, definitely. And I see they're raising these taxes and fees so they can borrow more money. But the thing of it is, they're not taking care of stuff to prevent, and they don't have any priorities. In fact, I gave to city manager, Gloucester County has a capital improvement plan. And it's 23 pages on how to go through the capital improvement process to narrow down what is the priority. And we don't do that in Portsmouth. We don't do a priority evaluation. They just throw it out there, and so, oh, we got to do this, so we need to raise the taxes and fees so we can borrow more money. So this is the mentality, is they're not organized and structured. And I gave her a copy of Gloucester County's capital improvement plan with the cover letter after the firefighters academy graduation. So to let her know, I'm looking at areas that are structured, and how are they structured so the communication flows. And then I compare it to Portsmouth, and there's no communication at all. And so when they're doing all these projects, they don't prioritize and just stick them all on the books. Then they say, oh, we've got to raise the fees on this. Oh, we got to raise the taxes on this. So that's the way they're doing it now. And all the economic development is not under economic development. You've got other agencies, PRHA, PPIC. These agencies need to come together and focus on what to take care of and what to build, and things like that. And we're not being organized to decide what is the best interest for the citizen. And if you don't talk to them, you ain't gonna know.
I think that's what the colonel was trying to get at. Even if you're in the minority, he wanted to know if you will be one of the ones that will speak up. Because sometimes even in the minority, if you speak up, the public will know that you're talking for them, or you're speaking for them.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Leah, you wanted to.
Yeah, James, you kind of went in the direction in which I wanted to go, but I will mention this. Donna, you write a lot of letters in reference to situations going on in the city of Portsmouth. And how much, I know you do your research, but when you write these letters, I had a question from a citizen about a letter you'd written recently in reference to the waste management. And they were concerned as to whether, did you speak to the people in waste management in reference to what you had written about the cutting of the trees at the cemetery? And did you speak to them? Because the individual who asked me to ask you this question felt that you had not spoken to the people at waste management when you sent the letter out in reference to what had taken place at the cemetery.
It was information that I received from a person. So that, so now I'm not going to be right. So if somebody has a question, they need to ask me personally, but I got the information from a person and I sent it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the person.
So it's important when we send information out like that, that we at least check with the others involved to see if the information, when I tell a story, I'm going to tell my side of the story. I'm not going to give you the whole story. I'm going to tell you my side. But that was one of the questions they wanted me to ask you. So you're saying that you did not check back with waste management when you sent the letter out. Am I correct?
If I sent it out, well, I have to know the details about it. Us just talking about it, I don't see the letter or whatever, so I could understand. So I can't really answer.
It was about the cemetery, Lincoln Cemetery, and the picking up of the debris that was cut down. And some individuals just felt that the others had not been given the opportunity to speak their side.
It wasn't me. It was that person that had the cutting down the trees had talked to the waste management.
Mhm.
Okay.
They
so
had talked to waste management.
Donna,
They said they were going to get it done.
Donna, quickly, can you, I know we're running out of time. Can you address public safety and crime and public safety and the shootings and everything? What are you going to do about that? What are your ideas?
Well, one of the things I've noticed is that the PRHA was working with the Parks and Rec about the crime and violence, which I was shocked to see that. So what I'm saying is that these public housing areas need to have a comprehensive, as a community, not just put houses there and forget about, any recreation or any pools or any kind of exchange, or I don't know what to say. It's just building houses, sticking them in a spot, and that's it. They're not looking at being comprehensive like as a family or a home or, a neighborhood or something. It's like they just build houses and stick people in it and not looking at the
Prepared to
family.
write a plan?
Say,
You
what?
prepared to write a plan?
Write a plan.
Yeah, write a plan or sponsor a plan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Put it
but
on
that's-
paper. What would be your plan for the housing, what you're just addressing?
Well,
And
you have to
put
go and talk to
specifics
people
into it,
first. You can't
not
just,
generalities.
yeah. See, I'm just talking in generalities because I'm not with a person, individual. This is just a conversation, public and stuff like that. When I'm working with a person, it's different than just talking. I mean, I'm not a good talker. I have to admit it. I'm a researcher and trying to figure out how to solve problems on my own. I don't have people helping me. It's me, by myself and God. That's it. So
Donna,
I'm talking to people and they tell me what they need and then work with them individually. I can't just go out to a public house and say, hey, look, you need to do this.
Donna, we're approaching the end of this
Okay.
interview. However, I want you to, I'm a new person to Portsmouth. I've never been to Portsmouth before. I don't know what's going on in Portsmouth. Sell to me why I should vote for you for city council.
Well, if you want somebody that's going to work hard and communicate with you and ask you what you need and try to get your needs met, then you can vote for me because I'm for the people. We the people, and it ain't happening in Portsmouth.
James, do you have a final word for Donna?
Yes, Donna, I'd just like to thank you for agreeing to come on and talk to us. I know it's kind of difficult sometimes when you don't know the questions. Well, at forums, you supposedly not know the questions in advance, but they are pretty structured questions. And our format happens to be more of a discussion. So anything would come up from the three of us, our hosts. So we're glad you came on. We wish you luck in your seeking office this time.
Okay.
And we appreciate you and keep on doing what you're doing. Going before council. Sometimes we need people to speak up. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you coming
Well,
on.
it's all about y'all, and I appreciate y'all, let me come on and share ideas a little bit. So
Sure.
Donna,
y'all keep up the good work.
Donna, I too thank you so very much for coming on and sharing your thoughts and your ideas. And we know that you are a researcher. We know that, okay? So, and as James said before, we do need those who can research as well. So we want to
Yes.
thank you for coming on Portsmouth Coffee Talk, sharing your thoughts, your ideas, and your views, and wish you well. Colonel?
Thank you.
Yes, Donna, I'd like to thank you ahead of time and for coming on and also having the guts to come on. Because when I say the guts, and I must say Christopher Woodard and Paul Battle, who are sitting out there probably looking at us online now and saying, trying to fool the public again, once again. But you have the guts to come on and speak your piece.
Yes.
and to put your platform out and to answer some very tough questions. And so I got to give you that piece.
Thank
So,
you. God bless y'all. And
God
all right.
bless you, Donna. Take care of yourself. Be good to yourself.
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. And now we have Mr. Mark Hugel, who's come. Donna, you can sign off now if you like, or
Okay.
okay. We have the
Yes.
Admiral Mark Hugel on now. James?
Let's see if this works.
Yes, welcome again, everybody, here to the Portsmouth Coffee Talk Evening Edition, and with our informational discussion with our candidates. And we're glad to have candidate, Portsmouth City Council candidate Mark Hugel here with us this evening. And by the way, good evening, Mr. Hugel. How you doing?
I'm well, thanks. And thanks to y'all for inviting me aboard tonight.
Yes, thanks for agreeing to come on. And where we want to go now, the Colonel will give his disclaimer, just in case we say something that, well, anyway, Colonel will let us know about that. And
Yeah.
he also will start off the discussion with you this evening.
Okay.
Yeah, the disclaimers remains the same because we're still in continuance of the views stated on the program are those of the host and the guests and nobody else. So keep us out of Facebook jail. But I'll start off with Go Army, Beat Navy, since you're so yes, I got to go pull that trick right there. So it's all
Okay,
good.
we can get that out of the way then.
Yeah.
Yes, just get it out of the way. Yes. And then so I just quickly and give me your 3-minute elevator speech, as you know, on why do you want to join the city council?
Yeah, so thanks for that. So I've been a homeowner here in Portsmouth since 1986. We moved back here when I retired from the Navy in 2009. We actually chose to move back to Portsmouth. Told my wife, the Navy has told us where we got to live. Now you get to pick. She picked coming back here. And so since we've been back, I've been working in industry, but also reconnecting with the community. We had 3 tours at the Navy Yard here in Norfolk Naval Shipyard. And so, we had community connections in addition to owning a home here, which kind of all led us back here. So I was watching what was going on with Portsmouth leadership, and this is leading up to the 2020 election, and was frustrated with what I was seeing. And I'm not one to sit on the sidelines when I get frustrated. I'm wanting to get out on the field and go play. And so I chose to run in 2020 because I was frustrated with the city's leadership. I've been watching for the 2 years since my unsuccessful 2020 campaign. And if I was frustrated in 2020, even more frustrated now. I think, Portsmouth leadership is kind of stuck and really not moving the city forward. I have 45 years of leadership experience going back to my time at Navy. And so I think I have some leadership gifting that I can give to the community. We moved back here because we love Portsmouth, and even though we weren't born and raised here, we care a lot about the community and just want to see things move forward. There's so much potential here. There's so many good things about Portsmouth, but unfortunately, we're making the headlines not for the good things in town, but for the bad things in town. Yeah. And so it's time to change the headlines. It's time to focus on the good things. It's time to move the city forward. I've told folks my priorities for the campaign really are the result of listening to folks around Portsmouth who told me they care about crime. They care about schools, and they care about jobs. And so that's probably 1, 2, and 3 for me. Crime, getting safety back on our streets again, investing in our kids, and in particular in our underserved kids. So I think we're doing a pretty good job of getting kids ready for college. Mm-hmm. It's really the kids that aren't going to go to college, exactly. Who I think we're underserving. Because we're not graduating enough of them with skills that lead them into a career. And there are lots of career jobs here in town. You know, my favorite shipyard is a great example. Opportunity for kids, but we're not graduating kids with skills that they can immediately jump into those opportunities, and that's you know, not helping the kids, but it's also not helping the city. And then you know, even beyond the kids that are in school and not graduating with skills, we got a bunch of people that are past high school, stuck in bad jobs, low-paying jobs. And at the same time, again, you know, the shipyard's holding hiring fairs every month this year, trying to find skilled people to come work there. The Navy Hospital looking for health service professionals. When I retired from the Navy, I went into the IT world, and so I know that our company and other IT companies are looking for IT professionals, cyber professionals. I mean, but these are jobs that require some fundamental skills to get into, and so I think we can help the kids in school and the folks out of school that are kind of stuck now in bad jobs, and those are the things that that are kind of my vision for Portsmouth. But as I said, it's not just my vision. It's walking around talking to folks and finding out, hey, everybody kind of cares about the same thing. Doesn't matter whether you're living in Churchland or Cavalier Manor. Doesn't matter if you're black or white or purple. The fact is, everybody kind of worries about the same things, and so it's time to get diverse ideas on the table to go tackle those things and move forward and get some of this stuff, the important stuff, done. So those are my priorities. I think the current leadership priorities, at least the majority on City Council, I think their priorities are wrong. I think they're worrying about the wrong things and spending money on the wrong things. So I'm hoping for the opportunity come November the 8th to step into a leadership position on City Council and work with whoever is on City Council at that point, really to move the community forward.
Mark, you know, admirable. Listen, you know, I'm listening to you, and it just so good to hear such sound reasoning coming from you. And you know, and it's obvious when you go to City Council meeting that many of the individuals have not studied what's on the agenda. You can tell that by the questions that are asked. So my question to you is, what and what do you bring to the table? And I think you did. I think you kind of answered it already, to show that you have the necessary skills in understanding balance sheets, comprehending profits and losses, setting priorities, and monitoring the progress of a budget to its end.
Yeah, so that's an important question, Leah. In my 32 years on active duty, included my time as shipyard commander at Norfolk Naval Shipyard. So that was 2000 to 2003. Back then, we had 7,600 people working in the Navy Yard, plus probably another 10,000 contractors that came through at various times. We were doing a couple $2 billion of work a year, an overhead budget that was $300 or $400 million. So you know, the overhead budget at the shipyard is important management issue, just like the general fund and the capital improvement fund budgets for the city. I think if you talk to shipyard folk that are still around town, either still at the yard or retired now, but who served with me, they would tell you that I'm not afraid to do my homework. I'm not afraid to ask hard questions. Okay, so that was at the Navy Yard 20 years ago. My last job in the Navy, I was in charge of all the Navy shipyards, the shipyards that were building ships and the shipyards that were fixing ships. In that job, I had 26,000 people and something like $6 billion a year of work being accomplished. I mean, so I've done big things before. I'm past that now, and you know, coming in the industry, I had a few hundred people working for me. but still had big contracts to manage and got to see the contracting business from the other side, the government side while I was in uniform, the industry side on the other side of being in uniform. And again, folks that work with me know I will out homework anybody. And it's primarily because I know that one of the jobs of a leader is to ask the hard questions to make sure that we're making the right decisions, the best decisions that we can.
James?
Mark, I just wanted to ask, as a former member of the Economic Development Authority some years ago, one of the things I don't hear, and I can't blame it all on this council because it goes back a few councils, you know, is we trying to deal with the jail on the waterfront, and it's been an issue, and we've had several people come and make offers about what they would like to do there. And they've been turned away, and sort of one person backed out because of the public outcry or the council and public outcry.
Right.
What do we have to do, in your opinion, to gain the confidence of the developers that were one time really interested in what was going on in Portsmouth, especially that waterfront? It's just sitting dormant now, and it's something that we've been talking about for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And
So good question. So I'll go back to the earlier comment about the good things that are here available to us in Portsmouth. We got a waterfront, and a lot of places don't have the waterfront that we have, but we're not taking advantage of the waterfront. We have a waterfront development plan that was put together years and years and years ago, to your point. Where are we at in executing that waterfront development plan? Well, we're stuck. And we got stuck because the jail was kind of in the way, and then we wanted to argue about the jail. I mean, I've talked to Sheriff Moore. Sheriff Moore says, "Hey, I'm okay with moving the jail. I don't want to stand in the way of things that Portsmouth wants to do. Let's work together and find a solution to where we can put the jail." I think we need to go back and resurrect the plan. You know, you mentioned developers coming and I'll call them unsolicited offers.
yes,
So they have their plans for what they want to do with the waterfront. Good for them. We want those ideas because you know, at the end of the day, it's going to take a developer stepping forward with the capital to make this thing go. We want to get their ideas, but we also need to have the rest of the city involved so that the ideas kind of come together, and we can, you know, again, see, by getting diverse ideas on the table, we all know what we want. We want a waterfront that's developed. I'd love to see a waterfront that connects, you know, the path of history that's outside the Navy Yard that was put there when I was in command, and the path of history that's outside the hospital. So we got these two things that kind of bookend the downtown with our history, and there's no connector along the water because we've been fussing about how are we going to get stuff down on the waterfront for too long and bickering. So we just got to get the developers to the table. We got to get the city leadership to the table and the voice of the community to the table. Talk about what we want to do down there, and then put a plan together and go do it. Now, part of that, and you know what? So you asked, what's it going to take to attract the developers? The developers are going to be gun shy as long as we have a revolving door at the city manager's office. Okay, so they want to be knowing that they're dealing with somebody that they're going to be dealing with for a while. And so one of the problems that we have with all of the instability that we have with you know, what's happening in City Hall, and last Friday, just another example of the instability in our leadership. So you're a developer, you want to know the people that you're dealing with are going to be the same people you're going to be dealing with a year from now when you're you know, have gathered up the money and started setting the plan in motion. We can't give any developer that kind of confidence based on the kind of behavior that we have in the leadership team right now.
And Mark, what can you do? A lot of the citizens have a sour taste in their mouth over the actions of the city council and situations that's been taking place in the city. What do you think you can do to help them to feel that council can move in the right direction? Right now, they're just thinking that council is lost. That's the feeling in the community. What can you do to help to alleviate that feeling that they have, and show that there is progress, that progress can be made in the city of Portsmouth?
Yeah. So council is lost because they don't have vision. Okay, so think about it. What's the vision of our current majority on city council? Where are they trying to take us? You tell me, because I've been watching for a while now. Darned if I know where. They say they want to be transparent. Well, be transparent on where you're trying to move the community. None of us can tell. We're all suspicious that there's some agenda that they're working and they're keeping it a secret from us. I'm not necessarily convinced there's an agenda that's secret. I don't know that there is a vision. So I'll come back to my vision, which is what I think is our vision. Okay, we're going to tackle crime. We're going to tackle schools. We're going to tackle jobs. Why those three things? Well, because we all care about them. But the other important reason to tackle those things, we want the city to grow. So let's say you're somebody who's starting up a business, and you're thinking about, where am I going to put the business? Well, what's the first thing you're going to ask when you start looking around? Where can I put my business where it's going to be safe, where my employees are going to be safe coming to work, my customers are going to be safe coming to visit, my inventory is going to be safe. So if you have a reputation, like unfortunately we have a reputation, that's strike one. Then the next question you're going to ask as a business owner, does the place that I want to put my business grow up kids that I can hire into my business without having to start from scratch and teach them everything? And so kind of back to, we want to teach our kids, either get them ready for college or give them a skill that leads them to a career. And then the third thing is this whole issue of stability of government. You want to be able to know that when you're dealing inside City Hall, you're going to be treated consistently, because the people that are there are have a clear leadership and a clear direction. And so that's the vision. That's our vision. Everybody in the community says that's where we want to go. Now, so how do you get there? Well, you start with everybody agreeing that is our vision, and we're all sharing that vision together. And then you invite lots of people to the table. Okay, I'm a big proponent of diversity. Why? Because if you get the only people around the table who look like me, you're going to get a lot of ideas like mine.
Exactly.
Okay, so you got to get lots of people, young, old, black, white, male, female, and just open the playing field up and get the ideas on the table, and then pick from the best ideas. But at least if we're putting ideas on the table, the ideas are coupled to, we know where we're trying to go. We're all trying to get there. Now let's get the ideas on the table that can take us there, pick the best ones, and then get on with it. And so if you can get the city leadership to share the vision amongst themselves, but then with the community, and get everybody in the community to buy in, and everybody in the community is kind of buying in, then you just got to put the ideas on the table and move out, get stuff done.
Thank you, Mark.
Mark, it's great. When I asked you first to give me your 3-minute elevator speech, and you found that I could see that you're prior military and you've done this, because when I look at your resume, you've had no previous elected office.
Right.
But I beg to differ that, because as a military officer or a senior member in the military, yes, we have played politics to get to achieve the goals that we get. And so, yes. And then, so that is not a dinger on my resume per se. So I'll say that first.
Yeah, thanks. So I tell folks, look, I worked in the Pentagon. There's
Oh,
lots of agendas in the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of back to, how do you get anything done in the Pentagon? Well, you got to get people buying into where are we trying to go,
Exactly.
and let's go.
yes. And the other piece is that I know you would use the word vision, and then so reason you said, the minute you said vision, I thought about our present city council. And I'm looking at Pacific members and thinking that yes, even if there was a vision, there's a lack of bandwidth there, and so I'm gonna leave that with there, so I don't want to get in trouble with that. So I know I cracked your smile then, but to
Yeah,
it.
so I'm not here to badmouth anybody that's
No, I
doing their
didn't
thing.
say that.
My goal is,
Yeah.
let's focus on the positive, because there are lots of positives, and
Yes.
let's get
I
stuff
am moving
done.
on. I am moving
Yeah,
on. And then
perfect.
so saying that, and you talked about schools and jobs, and I think schools and jobs are connected. And then so we always talk about the VOTEC and growing our kids through high school, getting the VOTEC training programs and stuff like that. But we've never let it, never realized that. And so how can you push that through? And
Yes.
and also and address unionization.
Okay.
You talked about bad jobs, and when I look at bad jobs, there are no bad jobs. They're low-paying jobs, jobs without benefits, and jobs without retirements, and that's going to be a problem for everybody across society because of those three things: low wages, no benefits, and no retirement. And so as they get older, and nobody can retire on Social Security by itself. So what can we do with a vision to correct those kind of things in a long-term kind of thing? And I know that was a lot.
Yeah. So it's a great lead in. I've been telling folks the story about Danville, Virginia.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna make it as quick as I can. I was at a Navy conference, submarine conference, a couple of years ago. The guy that was at the podium was the admiral that's building the newest Navy submarine, and he's describing to the crowd the country has an issue with finding enough people with trade skills just to build the submarines that we need to build, let alone building cars and everything else that requires skilled tradespeople. He says, so we've decided in the Navy we're going to do something about it. We're looking for communities to invest in. And so let me tell you the story about Danville, Virginia. I'm sitting in the crowd, I'm thinking, I've been to Danville, Virginia. There ain't nothing in Danville,
How about
Virginia.
that?
So I'm dying to hear this story. So he says, about a decade ago, Danville figured out that the tobacco industry and the textile industry were both imploding.
Mhm.
And if they didn't do something as a community, the place was going to die. They would have nothing for their kids. And so their community came together. Okay, so it's the people in the community, industry in the community, the school system in the community college, all came together and said, we got to do something to help our kids. And so they went to the maritime industry. So this is the shipyards and the businesses that build stuff to send to the shipyards to build ships, and said, okay, we need to give our kids some hope to get a career. And so what kind of skills should we be investing in our kids? And the folks that they talked to said, we need welders, we need machinists, and we need metrologists, basically people that do quality assurance measuring. Those are the three skill sets that we're in most desperate need of. And so 10 years ago, Danville set out on a mission to go create a curriculum to do that. They now have two programs. One is in the school system. So it starts in middle school, runs all the way to community college, a continuum. And so in middle school, you get exposed to a bunch of stuff: welding, 3D printing, laser cutting, a bunch of stuff. And as you proceed through your curriculum, by the time you're a junior and senior in high school, if you decided you wanted to be a welder, you weld for half a day and you go to your regular classes for the other half a day. When you graduate from high school in Danville, you have 1 full year of college credit at Danville Community College because the community college and the public schools have come together and said, we're going to dual enroll those kids. And then when they graduate from high school, if they want to get their associate degree, they only got to come to Danville Community College for 1 year to finish their associate degree. But importantly, whether it's a high school student graduating or somebody that's at Danville Community College, every one of those kids is being recruited by the maritime industry before they graduate. So when they walk across the stage to get their sheepskin, they're picking up their diploma and heading off directly to a job that they've already been hired into. Every single one of them. That's the demand signal that's out there.
Well,
Okay,
Mark,
so
I surely hope that you push that because we have the means. Have you been up to TCC up on Airline Boulevard? They're offering welding, they're offering carpentry, they're offering all these things. So if the school system could just join, they join with them for academics, but if they could join with them, then we could have that in Portsmouth because the avenue is there already.
okay, so success. All right. So I know Dr. Constant because I was on the TCC board when she was hired.
Right.
I visited the Skilled Trades Academy on
I forgot
Airline
you were on the board.
Boulevard,
I don't
and
know why I
Dr.
said that.
Constant, Dr. Constant says, "Bring it on. We
Yes.
got this wonderful facility. We want to work with Portsmouth. Let's work together." So she's in. All right.
Yes.
So I took a bunch of folks out to Danville to see all this stuff, and the good news is, starting either second semester this school year or first semester next school year, our 7th and 8th graders are going to get the beginning of the Danville curriculum. So the middle school curriculum in Danville, it's called GoTech. That's
Wonderful.
coming to Portsmouth Public Schools as a result of the work that a bunch of us have been doing with Craig Hill, who's the career and technical education guru in Portsmouth Public Schools. So it's started. And the good news is all the building blocks that we need to go do this are out there. It's just a matter of wiring them together and getting the right people working with the right people in the right order to get there. And so that there's an example where, just like Danville had the community and industry and the schools and the DCC come together, we got the right people now that are starting to talk to each other and work with each other, and we're aiming to get this implemented. And I think personally, this is just the beginning, because like I said, the Navy hospital is looking for health services people. We have a health services curriculum already in our CTE courses in Portsmouth Public Schools. So we just need to make the connection and build on it. And the same can be done with cyber and IT, all the other things I talked about. So you just got to get the ball rolling, and pretty soon the snowball should be out of control. That's what we want.
And that will give these middle school children hope. I'm in the middle school on a constant basis. Some of them can't see it with education portion of it, but if they have something that they can do, and they can do it well, that would help to build their self-esteem up, and they'll be ready to do what needs to be done.
Well, and we need to get to the parents too.
Exactly.
Okay, so the parents are kind of either the kid needs to go to college or there's nothing. Well, no, mom and dad, there's this other thing, and it's a really important thing, because there are real opportunities out there right now for, if we graduate kids into those trades, there are real jobs. And Colonel, back to your earlier point, there are no bad jobs. Okay, maybe, but I'll tell you, there are good jobs. Yes. Okay, a Navy Yard civil service job is a good job. The starting pay for a welder at the Navy Yard is better than the starting pay for a college level entry graduate from college. Yes. The benefits to work there are awesome benefits, full-time, healthcare and retirement plan. I mean, the whole bit. And people look at those jobs and say, oh, it's kind of dirty and sweaty. And yeah, but it's a great job with great pay. And it's going to put a roof over your head, food on the table, and move you out of whatever scratching and clawing you're doing right now, you know, kind of into the great American dream.
That's
Yes.
right. That's
But
right.
you know what? And
Mark,
you know, talk
Mark,
about
can I-
Wait a minute, wait a minute, Colonel.
Can I get in there?
Go ahead,
Because
James.
we're about to end. Mark, I wanted to ask you a question about the budget, city budget process.
Yep.
And the first question would be, do you think it's enough time in that process? And it's kind of mandated in the city charter, how it's set up and different times that the public has an opportunity to have input. Do you think it's enough time for the citizens to have input into that process? Because, you know, over the years, they get those two opportunities to sit down and go over, and it's not the whole budget. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the budget, you know, it's just little bits and pieces. Do you think, would you be in favor of trying to, you know, make that process a little longer for the citizens' sake in order for them to be up on everything that's happening? Because, you know, a lot of times things happen in your neighborhood and you don't know it, but it's not discussed in those public hearings,
Yeah.
part of the public, just the big items are. But those little things that affect the most people are passed over.
Yeah, so I would come at it not from time, but from an information standpoint. So why do we talk about the big things? Because it's only the big things that show up in the budget documents.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'll give you, for instance, you look in the budget line for the engineering department in City Hall. There's a line in there for human resources. How many people does that buy? Well, somebody in City Hall knows how many people that buys, but you can't tell from looking at the budget. Okay, so you know, we need to put more detail into the budget documents so that when the public does want to step forward and engage, they have time ahead of time to do homework with enough detail that they can dig through it just like I want to dig through it and figure out, okay, where's the little hidden things in here that are going to impact me? I want to make sure that the infrastructure plan is a good plan, not just for somebody else's neighborhood. I want to see what's going to happen in my neighborhood, that kind of stuff. And so it's, I wouldn't say we need more time. We just need more detailed information before those budget hearings happen so that people can dig in
Be more
if they're
informed.
inclined to and find out what's really going on that affects them.
Yes, indeed.
You know, Mark, I want to go back and you always talk about the bad jobs. Yes. And that Boilermaker job that's going over the shipyard corrects that so-called bad job, good job, because, you know, any job, but it corrects the low wages. The benefit package is always great. And they also have retirement, which is going to help us in the long run.
Right.
But of your three pillars, and we talked about schools and jobs, I think it also has a spillover effect to crime. Because if I have improved the economic conditions of our populace, statistics will say what? It equals what? Less crime, da, 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 da. And then
Right.
so do you want to address it any other way? I guess I might have answered my own question, but I say, what say you?
So you're very clever. Okay. These things are all overlapping.
That's
and they're
right.
all going to work together. Okay. So you fix crime, you bring business. You bring business, you fix crime. So you want kids to get off the street, give them a job. Okay. So right, you know, right off the bat, you're attacking crime by giving kids a better education and a decent job. They don't have to you know, see what's happening out there with the drug trade as their only hope to get out of the situation that they're in. There's a lot of hope, but we got to give them the right kind of hope and not the wrong kind of hope.
Right. Yes. You know, and I'll make one last statement. And as far as my father served and retired from the Navy, and I joined the Army. Did my 36 years, so I got more years than you do. So, but you mentioned the word diversity, and I look at diversity in its basic sense as we're all living in the salad bowl of America, and we're all mixed up in here together, and we need to be all in congenial in that salad bowl. And I think that's a big thing. Is what we sort of leave that out in when we talk about the city and some of the city problems. And so I just got to make that comment. I had it on the tip of my tongue. I just had to say it.
Yeah. So diversity is a powerful tool.
Yes.
But you got to take advantage of the tool.
Exactly.
It's not so we treat it as a problem. It's not a problem. It's an opportunity. But we're not using it as an opportunity. We're using it as dividing lines to squabble.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Well, guys, I mean, this has been wonderful. It has been interesting, but I know James is going to say, if you go over, we got to let everybody else go over. Am I correct, James?
Yeah.
Am I correct, James?
That's correct, yes.
But you, but
Got 2 minutes.
but we got 2 minutes, Mark. And with that 2 minutes, Mark, I want you to, I'm a visitor, never been here before, don't know this place. Make me want to stay, please.
So it comes back to the good things here in Portsmouth. Okay, we got a awesome waterfront. We got the nicest old town between Alexandria and Charleston. We got Hoffler Creek. We got the city park. We got great golf courses. We got history, like a lot of places don't have history. We have Navy and Coast Guard. So we have the military right here living with us. Lots of things going on available to us in Portsmouth that are good things. And so you know, it's why we came back here. It's because there's so much good here, but we got to get out of the mud and get a shared vision moving forward. And really, at the end of the day, I think that's all. I mean, it's the reason I'm running, and my hope is to have the opportunity to serve the community. I got no other agenda than serving the community, to try to get everybody bought into the vision and just get us moving in that direction.
Mark, I want to tell you, thank you so much for agreeing to come on Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And I'm enjoying talking to you, and I look forward to talking to you even further. So I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your thoughts and your visions for the city of Portsmouth. And they're admirable thoughts and visions that you have. And if we can attain half of that, we're ahead of the game. Okay.
We can do it.
We can do it. We can do it. If we come together, we can definitely do it. So once again, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on. And we appreciate you so very much. James?
I'd like to also thank you, Mark, for coming on. And we hope we're just a small part of what the citizens will have an opportunity to vet the candidates. And our goal was to give the candidates an opportunity to express themselves, to make their presentation. So people will make an informed decision on November 8th. So we really appreciate you coming in, and look forward to watching you throughout the rest of the process.
And Mr.
So,
IT guy, I want you to get with James, and we got to get his Zoom going for him well.
yeah,
We
you
need
gotta
to
get
see his
that.
lovely face, not
But-
just hear his voice.
Anyway, I'll say this, Mark, as well. My dad was in the Navy, so I'll say go Navy.
There you go. Go Navy, beat Army.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear.
Yes.
Okay, Colonel.
Well, Mark, since you said go Navy, I always say go Army, beat Navy. But when you said you came back here, I also was born at the Naval Hospital also. So now I've
Go
retired.
Navy. Go
Yeah.
Navy.
Product of Navy medicine.
Yes, yes. And I love Navy medicine. I love the AMED, military medicine is the only way to go. And with the job training that TCC and the local universities can put out, we can continue this magic that's going across over there at the Naval Hospital and Centera and Oversea and everywhere else around here. But making a long story short, thanks for coming on and letting the citizen see you, hear you, and see your journey.
Well,
So thanks
again,
again.
yeah,
Thank you.
thanks to all of you for inviting me aboard. These are important conversations, and I appreciate you making time for me.
And
Yeah.
those who are out there in Facebook land, Share the page on your page if you want to let your friends and family members to see the candidates and to hear the candidates. And later on, James will have this on YouTube. And you can then like, subscribe, and share the YouTube page for all your family and friends so that they can see who these individuals are who's running for city council and school board in the city of Portsmouth. And I thank each of you for coming on and sharing your thoughts. I'm reading your thoughts as I go through. So I just thank you so very much for coming on today as well. And thank you once again, Mark.
And Mark, I also encourage you to go on Leah's page and watch some of the comments that the people were making. That might be helpful.
Yep.
And you can watch on YouTube all the way up until November 8th, unless you voted already.
Oh yeah, early voting has started, folks. So go out and cast your ballots.
Okay,
and there won't be a
you.
long line tomorrow because it's going to be raining sideways.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice,
our community,
and our future.
All right. And we
thank you
salute
once
you,
again,
Mark.
Mark. Thank you so very much. Have a great day.
Yep.